Welcome to the tutorial explaining the new process lineage feature of Accurity. This new feature allows you to describe business processes and their individual steps in detail, and then map them to business model objects to keep track of what piece of data originates in which process and which processes are dependent on what data. Process lineage is a mapping between a business process or a business process step and an object of a business or logical data model. It is used in impact analysis to determine what actions are the cause of creation of certain types of data, how will changes to a business process impact your data infrastructure, or how can changes to the data infrastructure impact the efficiency of your business processes. Before you create this mapping, you first need to create a process and its process steps. Processes are umbrella objects containing process steps. To create a process, navigate to the Processes section of the menu and click the plus button in the top left corner of the process list. Name your process and describe it in detail in the description box. Next, you will want to create some process steps for your process. Process steps represent individual actions taken as a part of a business process. Navigate to the Process Steps section of the menu and click the plus button in the top left corner of the process step list. Just as with processes, name your process step and describe it in detail in the description box. Process steps must be assigned to a process. To do so, choose a process you wish to assign this step to from the Process Selection field. After you have a process and its process steps described, you can create the process mapping. Navigate to the Process Mapping section of the menu and click the plus button in the top left corner of the Process Mapping list. Process mappings don't have names. Instead, they are assigned unique numerical identifiers. To describe what the mapping is about, describe it in detail in the description box. Next, select a mapping type. The input mapping type denotes whether the process or process step in question consumes data in order to be performed. The output mapping type denotes whether that said process or process step produces the data mapped to it. Process mappings are base to target relationships. We need to select what the base of this mapping will be. We can base the mapping on either a business process as a whole or on one of its process steps. In this case, we will be basing our mapping on a process step. Now that we have specified the base, we can move on to specifying the target of this mapping. We can choose to map the process step on either a business term, an entity or attribute, or a data asset. If you want to map the process step to an entity or an attribute, click the plus button in the Target Entities and Attributes section and select either an entity or an attribute. If you wish to create a mapping to an entity only, leave the attribute field empty. You can create several entity and attribute type targets by clicking the plus button under the already existing target to add the next set of selection fields. If you want to map the process step to a business term, click the plus button in the Target Business Term section and select Business Term in the selection field. Similarly to the previous target type, you can create multiple business term type targets by clicking the plus button under the already existing target to add the selection field. Alternatively, you can choose a data asset as a target for your process mapping. Unlike the previous two target types, you can only choose one data asset. After your process mapping has been created, the process lineage can be observed by opening the detailed view of either the base or one of the targets of the mapping, scrolling down and clicking the Reference by Processed Mappings button. This will display all process mappings this object is a part of. Thank you for watching the tutorial on how to use the new Process Lineage feature. In case you want to know more about Process Lineage or another feature of Accurity, click the Help button in the top right corner to open the Accurity user guide. Feel free to contact us with any feedback you may have. We wish you smooth and efficient use of Accurity. Goodbye.